back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience with the Moderna vaccine. And this is for the first dose. I did receive it about a week and a half ago, so I feel like I'm out of that window of like potential side effects. So just wanted to preface this video with this is my own personal experience. So your results may vary because we do not have the same genetics, as well as I'm not a doctor, so this is not medical advice, okay? It's just my personal experience. I do work for a healthcare organization, which is how I was able to get the vaccine around the beginning of the year. So let's go ahead and get into it. I scheduled my vaccine for really late in the day, almost, I think it was like one of the latest appointments that you could get, because I wanted it to be not during work hours. I didn't want to have to take off work to go, and I wanted to be able to put my kid to bed and, you know, disappear afterward. I didn't want to miss any of like that family time. So I went and got my vaccine late at night. It was almost 8 o'clock. When I went to get the vaccine, the nurse injected, she put the needle in, I could feel her injecting the vaccine. The vaccine felt kind of cool. It didn't really sting. I was just kind of like, it's kind of cold. And she left the needle in there a little longer than I expected. So I'm not a nurse, so maybe that's normal protocol. And then afterward, they had us sit down for observation for 15 minutes in case anyone had a reaction. And sitting there for 15 minutes, the only thing I really noticed was that I was really thirsty. And I don't know if that's from the vaccine or if that's just from life because, well, people get thirsty. So afterward, you know, no side effects or anything within that first 15 minutes. So we were all clear to go home. And I carry my Hydro Flask with me. This is, I think it's 18 or 20 ounces, but I downed this in my car before I even started the car. So I was really thirsty. And then I drove myself home, and there were no, like, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I feel weird or anything. And I wasn't like, oh my gosh, my arm, it's just like, it's so stiff or sore. No, I was just like, I feel fine. I came home, I went to sleep. The next day was Friday, and I worked a full day. And around 4:30, I started making dinner, and I felt kind of weird. I was like, like I missed a really simple step in cooking, which is like, you know, sauteing onions and garlic. And I missed the garlic for some odd reason. And I was like, well, it's kind of weird. And my husband went to get our baby from daycare. And when he came home, he was like, hey, you know, I forgot something. I want to get something at the store. So I'm going to go and you can, you know, stay here with the baby. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And he was gone maybe 20 minutes. So this was like, you know, just after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And when he came back, I said, I got to lay down. I can't be upright anymore. So I lay down on the sofa, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I can't like really keep my eyes open anymore. And then like the next thing I knew, I was still laying on the sofa. My kid had run up to me. She's 1.5 years old. She had run up to me and she was like, you know, hitting my face. She was like, Mommy, let's play. And I was like, yeah, I can't. Sorry, kid. And she was bathed. Like her hair was wet. She was in PJs. And I was like, oh, I guess Dad already gave you a bath? Huh, it's kind of weird. So anyway, he puts her to bed and he comes by and he's like, hey, do you want to go to bed? And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of far away though. And he was like, well, I'll help you. I'm like, okay. So I get up and like, I just feel really weak and tired. And also like my left arm is not just like sore, it is throbbing in pain. I'm like, oh my gosh, like just even moving it a little bit hurts so badly. I was like, don't look at it. You're gonna make it hurt by looking at it. So, I mean, it was a situation. I also had the chills and he got me into bed and I was like, I'm not even bothered changing into PJs. Like, we are going to be in bed with whatever clothes I'm wearing, end of story. And I managed to fall asleep, and then I woke up Saturday morning at 4 a.m. and I was like, I am so hot right right now and sweaty, and I just don't feel well. And before I went to sleep, I had asked for the thermometer. I'd asked for my husband to take my temperature before bed. And before I went to sleep with like all the chills and everything, my temperature was, I think it was 99, which was, it's high, but it's not a fever. But when I woke up at 4 a.m., I took my temperature again, and it was 102 degrees. So I definitely had a fever. I didn't feel like I was gonna die, but 102 fever, that's fairly high. I was just uncomfortable. I was like, I'm so hot right now. But I also don't have the energy to like take off my clothes or anything. So like, I'm just gonna sweat. It's gonna be super fun. And my arm was still really painful. Like turning over onto my left side was just out of the question. Okay, like don't do that. I was like, oh, this is so painful. But I could kind of move my arm just a little bit without it hurting. And I was like, well, sounds like we are making some progress. And I fell back asleep. I woke up at around 9, mostly because my kid was like hitting me on the face. She was like, oh, let's go play. I'm like, sorry, kid, I can't do it. And I fell back asleep, and I woke up again. Well, I fell back asleep, but I also took my temperature, and it was still 102 degrees. And went back to sleep. I woke up at like 1:30 in the afternoon on Saturday, and I had downed my hydro flask already, so I was super thirsty, and my house was silent. I was like, oh, I guess my family has abandoned me, when in reality, my husband had taken our daughter to the park. That's besides the point. So I get up, I go to the kitchen to get some more water. I drink the water. I think I like down my entire hydro flask and then refill it again. And because I'm standing, I have to go to the bathroom. And keep in mind, I hadn't drank anything in almost 24 hours. So when I went to the bathroom, my pee was like almost brown. I mean, it was kind of gross. I was like, oh my gosh, do I also have blood in my urine? Whew. So that was kind of scary. And I was like, you know what? That's a problem for future Arlene. I'm just gonna go back to bed. And I went back to bed, and then my husband woke me up at around 5 o'clock, and he was like, hey, I made dinner. Do you want to try and eat dinner with us? And I was like, yeah, I think I can. And I took my temperature, and it was 99 degrees. So I was like, okay, I still have a temperature, but I'm okay. I think I'm okay. And I went to the kitchen, sat down, and I was like, okay, I don't feel like I'm gonna fall over, so that's a good sign. And he had made this meatball soup, and it was delicious. And I hadn't eaten anything in over 24 hours because I didn't eat dinner the night before. And it was amazing. I mean, this meatball soup was so good. It was so delicious. But anyway, I was able to sit at the dinner table, eat food, like goof around with my daughter, and I felt pretty much almost as good as new. Like I was like, all right, sounds cool. And we put our kid to bed, gave her a bath, put her to bed. And after she went to bed, I didn't think like, hey, I need to lay down again. But I thought, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do what I wanted to do Friday night, which was organize our batteries. Now, when you get to my age, organizing batteries is like kind of exciting. So it was super fun. I did that. And then the next day was Sunday, which I was totally like kind of confused about because I essentially lost like Friday to Saturday afternoons. And I was like, oh, it's Sunday. That's cool. Like, and I felt fine. I was a little tired, but that wasn't a big deal. And then Monday, I went back to work. I had a slight headache, and that was pretty much it. And I haven't had any side effects since then. So it's been it's been a week since I last had that side effect of like a slight headache, but I feel fine now. And so, my experience is very different from a lot of other people that I talk to. Some people are like, I just had a sore arm for like a day or two. No big deal, So it all depends on, how your body reacts to the vaccine. And basically, my immune system had a response. And hopefully, for the next dose, it might have another response, or maybe it won't, who knows, right? But in the meantime, if you're worried about the vaccine, definitely do your research, but, maybe plan some buffer time in. So this time I didn't really plan for a buffer because I took the vaccine Thursday night, and then Friday I worked most of the day, and I was like, I kept my schedule light on Friday. So in case anything happened, it wasn't going to be like, oh, but Arlene's supposed to give a presentation to like 500 people tomorrow. Like, it was like, oh yeah, Arlene's gonna be like on a couple of calls. It's not a big deal. It's gonna be, and if I don't show up, it's gonna be fine because there's someone else on my team who can cover. And so for that second shot, that's what I'm also planning for as well. I'm planning for a buffer, the next day. It's also, wait, did I schedule? Yeah, I scheduled it for Thursday night again. And so Friday, I'm purposely keeping my schedule light. I think I have like one meeting, and you know what? And if I feel fine on Friday, it's gonna be great because then I can get a whole bunch of work done without people interrupting me because they think I'm busy. Ha! So go ahead and block out that time. And then that weekend, I've also blocked it out as in like no activities. Like, my family and I, we aren't gonna go to an amusement park or something, or, to look at the zoo or something like that. It's just gonna be, we're gonna be at home. And maybe we'll go to a park, maybe we'll go for a walk. It's gonna be something like that. And I've even scheduled it for the following week as well for work. I'm trying to keep my schedule light just because I hear from other people that after the second dose, especially, so most people I know who've gotten a second dose, they've had Pfizer, and the first Pfizer dose, they had a sore arm for a day or two, and then after the second dose, they did have more of an immune response. So that's kind of what I'm basing my plan off of. As long as you plan for having some downtime after your vaccines, I think you should be okay, because that'll give your body some time to react as well as recover. And if your body doesn't have a big response, then even better. Like, you have blocked out some time for yourself and you can work on whatever you'd like. Thanks for watching this video about my experience with the first COVID vaccine with Moderna. If you are interested in hearing about the second dose, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I will be posting another video after the second dose. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.